What if I told you the architect of modern football, the man who made Barcelona and Ajax legends, started his career in absolute failure? This is the story of how Johan Cruyff turned disaster into a dynasty. So make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell, because you won't want to miss a second of this incredible journey. In 1947, in a home just a 5-minute walk from the roar of Ajax's stadium, a baby boy was born. Football was in the air. He breathed a love passed down from his father, a man who saw the beautiful game in his son's eyes. But fate can be cruel. When the boy was just 12 years old, his father, his first and greatest supporter, died of a heart attack. 4 years later, carrying that weight in his heart, he made his debut for Ajax. His name was Johan Cruyff. His first season was nothing short of a catastrophe. Ajax, the pride of Amsterdam, finished in 13th place, their worst result since professional football began. It was a baptism by fire, a humbling start for a boy destined for greatness. But in that failure, a fire was lit. The next season, a revolution was brewing at Ajax. And who better to lead it than the skinny kid with the fire in his belly, Cruyff himself? He fought, he scrapped. He worked his way from the fringes into the starting lineup. And then he started scoring. It was like a switch had been flipped. By March, he'd scored his first hat trick. The goals just kept coming, a torrent of genius. 25 goals in 23 games. And just like that, with the sheer force of his talent, he had dragged Ajax from the depths and made them league champions. They were a team reborn, and he was their savior. They didn't stop there. They won the league for the next 2 years, a whirlwind of attacking football with Cruyff at its heart. He was named the best player in the league both times, a king in his own city. The next year, 1969, brought a flicker of disappointment. They failed to win the league, but they blazed a trail to the final of the European Champions Cup, the biggest stage of all. There they met their match, losing to a powerful AC Milan. But even in defeat, his stars shone brightly. He was still named the best Dutch player of the year. The following season they returned with a vengeance, winning the domestic double. But the year was soured by international failure. The Netherlands, a nation brimming with talent, failed to qualify for the World Cup, finishing a distant third in their group. Cruyff would have to wait for his chance to shine on the world stage. He bounced back from that disappointment and from a nasty injury that plagued the start of his next season. This was the year he made a decision that would become iconic. In an era where starting players wore numbers 1 through 11, Cruyff took the number 14. It was unusual, a statement, almost a power move. It declared that he was different, that he played by his own rules, and he proved it on the pitch. That season, facing AZ Alkmaar, he put on a masterclass, scoring an unbelievable 6 goals, as Ajax hammered them 8-1. In Europe, they were unstoppable, a force of nature destroying everything in their path on the way to the final. There against Panathinaikos, they were clinical, winning 2-0. They were European champions, and though Cruyff had only scored once in that European campaign, his influence was undeniable. He was the conductor of the orchestra, the brain behind the beautiful music. The world recognized it, and he was awarded the Ballon d'Or. The dominance continued. The next year, Ajax battled their way to a second consecutive European final, this time against the defensive masters of Inter Milan. This was a clash of philosophies, the fluid attacking total football of Ajax against the rigid defensive catenaccio of the Italians. On the night, art conquered pragmatism. Cruyff scored twice a brace that sealed the win. The newspapers proclaimed a new era. Total football had arrived, and the old ways of Italian defense had crumbled before it. This time, Cruyff was the top scorer of the tournament with 5 goals. As you'd expect, they also won the league and the cup, completing a historic treble. Incredibly, despite this monumental success, he missed out on the Ballon d'Or. Franz Beckenbauer took it home largely because West Germany had won the Euros, a competition the Netherlands hadn't even qualified for. It's a moment that defines a career. He was the best player in the world on the best team in the tournament, but he walked away without the trophy. So let me ask you, what do you think defines a player's greatness? More winning the ultimate prize, or changing the way the game is played forever? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think. In what would be his final season at Ajax, Cruyff seemed determined to leave a legacy of pure greatness. And he did. They won the league again, and for the third year in a row, they conquered Europe, beating Juventus in the final. He was untouchable, a footballing deity. He won the Ballon d'Or for a second time, a feat only the legendary Alfredo Di Stefano had managed before him. Then came the move that shook the world. He was transferred to Barcelona for 1.2 million euros. It doesn't sound like much now, but back then it was seismic. He became the first player ever to be sold for more than 1 million, smashing the previous record by almost double. The pressure was immense, but Johan Cruyff wasn't built like other men. He proved he was worth every single penny instantly. In his very first season, he led Barcelona to a historic 5-0 thrashing of their arch-rivals, Real Madrid, at their own stadium. It was more than a win. It was a statement. He resurrected the Catalan fighting spirit and led them to the league title, a prize that had eluded them for 14 long years. He brought his total football philosophy with him, and it transformed the club from the inside out. That same year, he scored a goal that has gone down in football folklore, a goal so audacious, it's simply known as Cruyff's impossible goal. Against Atletico Madrid, a cross came flying towards him, but it was awkward behind him, seemingly impossible to reach. But with a breathtaking leap, he twisted his body in midair and with the outside of his heel, flicked the ball into the net. It was a moment of pure acrobatic genius that even Zlatan would be proud of. But the most significant moment of his career was still to come. He would finally take his place on the world's biggest stage in his first World Cup. The Netherlands team of 1974 was something special, a beautiful fluid machine. They seemed unbeatable, qualifying with 24 goals, double the number of second-place Belgium. In the first group stage, they faced Sweden, Uruguay, and Bulgaria. They didn't lose a single game, topping the group with ease. Back then, the format was different. The top 2 teams from each group advanced to a second group stage. The winners of those 2 new groups would face each other in the final. In their second group, the Netherlands were flawless, beating every team they faced with Cruyff as their top scorer. In the other group, West Germany did the same. It was a collision course, the 2 best teams in the world destined to meet in the final. The Netherlands were seen as the favorites, a revolutionary force that had only conceded a single goal. The final started like a dream. In the second minute, before a German player had even touched the ball, Cruyff went on a mazy run and was brought down. Penalty. The Netherlands converted. 1-0. But the Germans were a machine. Just 23 minutes later, the unthinkable happened. They were awarded a penalty of their own, and they converted it. In a World Cup final, the greatest players rise to the occasion. But on that day, it wasn't Cruyff who would have the final say. It was Gerd Müller, the ultimate poacher, who scored the winning goal. West Germany were world champions. Despite the heartbreak, the world of football recognized what it had seen. Cruyff's influence was undeniable. He was a new kind of footballer. Intelligent, sharp, a master of space and time. He won his 3rd Ballon d'Or, beating Beckenbauer by just 11 points. He became the first player in history to win 3, and the first to win them in consecutive years. He would play 4 more years at Barcelona, ascending to become arguably the biggest name in the club's history. But those years were lean trophy-wise. Real Madrid's dominance seemed insurmountable. In 4 years, Cruyff and Barca managed 3 second-place finishes and 1 third. Their most notable run came in the European Champions Cup, where they battled all the way to the semi-finals, only to lose by the slimmest of margins to the mighty Leeds United. Oh, how times have changed. Then in 1977, his world was turned upside down. He retired from international football abruptly. The reason was terrifying. His family had been the victims of a kidnap attempt. Gunmen invaded their home in the middle of the night, tying them up, threatening them. The details are scarce, but rumor has it that Cruyff himself managed to escape and alert the authorities, leading to his family's rescue. Whether the criminals were ever caught is unknown. But the trauma was profound. As he later revealed, the scare was so severe that he and his family were put under police protection for months. Officers accompanied them everywhere. They even slept in their home. He couldn't leave them, couldn't risk traveling to a World Cup with that fear hanging over him. It's a shocking turn that shows how life off the pitch can be more challenging than any final. But Cruyff's story is far from over. His journey takes an unexpected turn into betrayal, revenge, and one final glorious chapter. To make sure you see how this legend cemented his legacy, hit that subscribe button, because the stories we share on Legends of Football League are all about the heart and soul of the game. After leaving Barcelona in 1978, he seemed to have retired. He played a few exhibition matches for PSG, but didn't sign a contract. Then, disaster struck again. A series of terrible financial decisions proposed to him by a con artist left him financially ruined. He had lost almost everything. He was forced to come back to football. He signed for the Los Angeles Aztecs in the burgeoning American Soccer League. The experience, he would later admit, was invaluable, helping him to develop his footballing philosophies. He even confessed that retiring at 31 was a mistake. He still had so much more to give. In his 1 season with the Aztecs, he was named Player of the Season. He then moved to the Washington Diplomats, but it was less successful. He even missed the start of a season while playing as a guest for AC Milan. A stint in the Spanish Second Division with Levante was plagued by issues with management, and he decided to leave. After this nomadic period, he decided to go home, back to the one place he knew he would be happy: Ajax. At first, he returned only as a technical advisor. When he arrived, the club was languishing in 8th place. His advice, his vision, helped them climb the table to finish 2nd. The next season, he pulled on the famous white and red shirt once more. And for the next 2 years, he led Ajax to 2 more league titles. The king had returned. Then, for some inexplicable reason, Ajax decided not to renew his contract. It was a baffling, disrespectful decision, and it angered Cruyff. So in an act of pure calculated retaliation, he did the unthinkable. He joined their bitterest rivals, Feyenoord. There he linked up with a young future Ballon d'Or winner named Ruud Gullit, and together they led Feyenoord to their first league title in a decade. It was the perfect defiant message to Ajax, a masterclass in proving your own worth. He was named Dutch Player of the Year for a 5th time, and then on that ultimate high, he announced his retirement for good. It was the perfect mic drop on an unbelievable playing career. Speaking of unbelievable careers, who is another legend whose story of genius and grit you think deserves to be told? Let me know in the comments. I'm always looking for the next great story to share with you all. Of course, it cannot be left unsaid that he would become one of the game's greatest managers, leading both Ajax and Barcelona to major success, including guiding Barcelona's dream team to their first ever Champions League title in 1992. Cruyff was the architect of total football, a philosophy built on fluid formations, where any player could play anywhere, and the belief that keeping the ball is the ultimate form of dominance. His genius was a combination of breathtaking natural talent and a footballing brain that was light years ahead of its time. As the great Marco van Basten once said, Cruyff had mastered every technical aspect of the game by the age of 20. So he was forced to spend the rest of his career developing the tactical side. He is without doubt one of the greatest innovators the game has ever seen. He wrote the blueprint for modern football. The number of legendary players and managers who point to Johan Cruyff as their primary inspiration is astonishing. He represents the idea that willpower, intelligence, and an undying love for the game can lead you to a greatness that transcends trophies. And that's the story of Johan Cruyff, the man who painted football in his own image. What a journey, what a mind, what a player. I'm so passionate about these stories, and I want to hear what you think. What was your favorite Cruyff moment? Did his impossible goal leave you speechless, or did his final act of defiance at Feyenoord capture your imagination? Please share all your opinions, your favorite memories, and any questions you have in the comments below. I truly love reading every single one and building this amazing community of football lovers together. Thanks for watching.